Cheers.
Yes.
Oh my God. Yo.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that technicolor rainbow in between, it's your boy Trey Proper.
It's your boy Big Herb.
And Mr. Petty.
And it's some more.
Damn it, Rick.
This guy.
What
Every
up?
time.
So, thank you, everybody, for again joining us here live and direct on Blurs of Whiskey. It's always a pleasure and a joy to have you watching us as we do this. We got a great show lined up for you today. We're going to talk about some things, of course, mainly because of the pandemic. We don't have much to go off of, but wrestling and other stuff.
There's a whole bunch of other shit.
Yeah, a whole bunch. So just to start us off, we took our drink. We had our drink of the week is actually Hennessy.
Anything's possible.
Anything is possible.
Fan of
I can't get it on. I can't get it on. It won't get on the screen.
Yeah, everybody got a bottle of Hennessy.
So do we want to do our individual recipes yet? Because mine is really good.
Yeah. Go ahead and tell us what you made, Miss Petty.
So I did my version of Moscow Mule, except I just use Hennessy instead of vodka. So it's pretty much Hennessy, ginger beer, a little bit of lime juice, and a lime garnish.
That's awesome. I need to make that. That actually sounds pretty good. Herb, what
it
you
is.
Yes. So I have Hennessy on the rocks. That's it. That's it.
Less calories.
Yeah.
Miss Rita, what you drinking?
Lies and deception.
Well, first of all,
the shade.
Our boy OCG named it a Henny Rita, and I can't think of a better name. So that's what I'm drinking. So instead of tequila, there is Hennessy.
Okay. All right. Maestro, our resident mixologist. I'm pretty sure you have a great concoction over there.
Oh, what am I?
I mean, we'll get into that. Go ahead.
Damn.
So no shade to Mr. Petty, but I made a Hennessy sour. Instead of using whiskey, I used cognac. It's pretty good, and I added some bitters to it to kind of balance it out. And then, if you can see it, I have some fruit in there, and the fruit was a part of a punch with Everclear. So things can get a little bit interesting as we go along.
Shit!
You're mixing.
You can start your car with Everclear.
Huh?
It's death in a bottle.
Listen.
You're gonna die, basically.
You all have known me for long enough, and you should know that you can't kill something that won't die.
We're on live right now, right?
God, man.
Moving on.
Yeah. Not this subject.
Now, me personally, I'm not a fan of Hennessy, but I figured if I'm going to go that hard, I'm going to try the Master Blend. I got the Master Blend Hennessy, and I am horrible. I am not a mixologist. I basically had some apple juice and some lemon juice, and I mixed it with the Hennessy. So yeah, that's what I'm drinking today.
On a scale of 0 to -5, how does it taste?
Oh, it's a -10. Come on now, you know it's bad. You know it's horrible.
You know what? Out of everything you just said, as bad as that concoction is, I just love the fact that Trey can't say the word master. He's been saying massa this whole time.
I said Master Blend. I said Master Blend. Master Blend.
You said Master's Blend.
Yeah.
Did I say Master's Blend?
Oh, okay,
no.
that nigga up on that now.
Yeah, I have a joke for this, but
go ahead and say your joke. What you got to say?
No.
Anyway.
Nah.
So that sounds like a pretty dark joke you have there. But speaking of dark things, we're gonna go ahead and get into the dark side of the ring this week. We had the final episode of the season, and it was the story of Owen Hart.
Yeah, that was very depressing.
So we're all children of the 90s for the most part. We were around when it happened. We were a little bit younger, but we were aware of the tragic events that took the life of one Owen Hart, the youngest son of the Hart family, youngest brother of Bret Hart. And basically, this was the story of the behind the scenes of what happened. when he fell. Basically, if you're not familiar with the story, Owen Hart was doing a character called the
Blue Blazer.
The Blue Blazer, and his entrance basically required him to be what's the word? Descending. There we go. Descending from the rafters into the ring, and something went wrong with his harness. It released him at about 100 feet, and he fell to his death.
So I was a friend of mine. I talked to him. He's from Missouri. He's from St. Louis, and he happened to be in the arena that night that Owen Hart fell to his death. Apparently, like on the documentary, they tell you that things were a little bit hectic for the people who were working on the production in the wrestling production team. In the stadium, they knew absolutely nothing. They weren't told anything. They weren't updated on anything. Essentially, they were just like, "Oh, he fell," and kind of like a rumor amongst the crowd was, "Oh, he's all right. It's a work." And they thought that it was just all pomp and circumstance. They didn't find out. People didn't start finding out about it until like the Raw the next night, which he said he went to, and it was just an awful Raw. Yeah. So the overwhelming theme about this season of Dark Side of the Ring for most of the episodes has been that Vince McMahon is a terrible person. I can no longer. This is a little bit of a hot take. I can no longer continue to support the WWE. Sorry. I can't keep giving money to somebody who is just so inherently evil. And I know that's a little bit, like I said, it's a bit of a hot take, but I just can't do this shit anymore, man. Vince is paid to cover up people's deaths. He's disrespected people at every turn. Yeah, you provided me with a lot of entertainment because of your vision and all of that shit. But I think I'll pass, man. That we live in an age where you can watch wrestling and it doesn't have to be under Vince McMahon's banner. And I think that's the direction that I choose to move in. But I can't keep supporting this dude and all of his bullshit, man. And that's my honest take about it.
Okay. Anybody else want to chime in on that one? Because I think he just said a mouthful.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of have to counteract that, but like he said it. He's not going to support it no more. So I'm like, all right, that's how you're going to take on it. I just look. At the end of the day, he's still a businessman, though. Like, unfortunately, not all business is going to be great for us. Like, as we've seen during the pandemic, he cuts people. During most of the deaths that happen, and he's covered up deaths. He just if they'll take the money, they're not dead. You know, that's how it is. I feel like this particular hot take on this Dark Side of the Ring, though, for me, like at the time, I had a cable box that had a black chip, so we could like just hit the descramble button and we can
same thing.
So the routine was Sunday. It would come at 8, and then it would like the repeat encore presentation would be at 10, and then they'll do a follow presentation around Tuesday. So for some reason, I've been faithful watching pay-per-views, and for some reason I didn't watch this one. I'm like, all right, I'll catch it on the replay, or I'll catch it Tuesday, and then I find out what happened. So I was like, wow, the one pay-per-view that I didn't see. And it's kind of like maybe it was meant for me not to see it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like as bad as you feel about the business, how it went, Kevin Dunn, that guy. Oh,
God damn.
That's a special place in hell for that bucktooth bastard.
Yes.
So for those who don't know, Kevin Dunn is a behind the scenes production guy for WWE. And since JR and King were commentator, they were basically trying to like figure out, like I said, a lot of people didn't know what was going on. So when Kevin Dunn is like giving them information, but he didn't know what they didn't know. So he's like, all right. He's like, so what's going on with Owen Hart? He's like, oh, you didn't know? No one told you? He's died. Okay, and you're back in 5, 4, 3, and then JR literally had like.
I have the unfortunate responsibility of informing you in the crowd that Owen Hart has died.
So he had like 5 seconds to realize his friend was dead and had to be a professional. That's hard. Like,
and then just to go on real quick. Just as far as he said, he felt like shit later on in the documentary, saying that he said, "Well, I'm glad I'm not in your shoes tonight." And damn, that was like the last things that he said to him. And I mean, just me, because I watched it on the Scrambler at the time as well. It was just like, because I don't remember even seeing. I think I may have just stepped out the room, and then they was panning around to the whole entire fans And then I come to find out later on, yeah, he died. And then the thing that pisses me off, okay, number one, why wasn't the police just stop the event? He died. It's a death right now. There should be no reason why this. Yeah, it's
they
a crime
were wrestling
scene.
on a crime scene.
Exactly. I mean, you could still see the blood on the side of the ring. I mean, and then the fact that, I mean, if you looked at Undertaker's face in the middle of him getting ready to start the match with Austin later on that night, he's just looking like, oh my God, I can't believe that we're still doing this shit. I mean, and then on top of that, the one thing that pissed me off about this whole entire thing, other than Vince, was the fact that his what's his name, Owen's the Hart family was giving Vince the information from his wife. And that hurt me the most because I was like, where's the loyalty? I mean, I understand. Go ahead.
With that, we have to keep in mind they said the Hart family. We don't know which member of the Hart family did that. So we can't put that all on just the Hart family. It could have been anybody who did it.
Yeah.
My thing about it is, they did continue to match. And it's just like they lost more than just a wrestler that night. Owen Hart, and I was a little young. I wasn't as knowledgeable as I am now as far as wrestling is concerned then as I am now. But knowing how much these people are family, you're in a row with somebody 300 days out of the year.
300 days a year. Yeah.
You just saw one of your best friends, and from all intents and purposes, Owen seemed as though he was the cherub of the WWE. He was the fun-loving, joyful guy who always, made people laugh, and they have to go out and they have to rent. That is heart-wrenching. And then his wife and children, it's like, wow, it's a lot.
His wife didn't even know. She wasn't even watching the show. And they didn't say anything to, like, Vince called her, and it's just like, this is Vince. There was an accident. We'll call you back with some more information. And then it's finally the actual doctor who had to tell his wife, because she's not even there. I mean, everybody's just like, what's going on? Nobody's filling her in. Nobody's telling her anything. And I mean, and the fact that he's held by a fucking keychain. If you look at the actual the hook, it's supposed to come down and just have a quick release. When you have the money to go ahead and just get rid of it, it really pissed me off.
So they traded out an actual harness that could hold up a man's body for one that was basically they're trying to cut down on time with a quick release that only took 6 pounds of pressure, and it would have saved them 2 seconds of TV time or a little bit of an awkward release. So you put somebody's life, you essentially killed somebody for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
And
I can't say.
Sorry, go ahead.
Because one thing I do have to say that I didn't even know, and I've always been like, I won't say I've always been in the know, but I've always like been a behind the scenes kind of guy. One thing that Owen Hart's widow did say that a lot of fans have been like bugging her. You know how the online fans are, of why they won't let him, why she won't let him be honored by the WWE Hall of Fame, and that makes sense now. She's like, I'm not going to let the company that killed him honor him. He's been honored in other Hall of Fame. He's honored in the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, which is an actual building, by the way. That he's honored in so many other things in Canada. So that one little company, just because it's a very big wrestling company, that one little company that's not on him, y'all can let it go now. You'll be good.
Agreed.
Heard it straight from the horse's mouth. So just to keep the ball rolling, we did see another unfortunate incident that happened this week. We lost another wrestler, Shad Gaspar. He was famously known as, I forgot what was his name?
Shad.
Was it Shad?
It was Shad.
Okay, I thought he was involved in a tag team Crime Time, and he was he lost his life on the beach due to undercurrents, which are very dangerous. A lot of people may not know that. You can go to the beach and the current can actually take you out to sea. Yeah. But he was lost this week as well. So yeah, it's been a rough week for wrestling, to say the least.
And just to state on that, just putting my 2 cents on it, it really hit home for me because I had a almost similar situation. I'm not gonna get deep into it, but that current is strong. People, if you can, just do your best to stay near the shallow end.
Right.
It's unfortunate what happened to him. I mean, it's very heroic that he saved his son in the process of this happening, but it's very unfortunate. I want to let's get a shot for his family, because I mean, it was a tragic story that happened.
I mean, they got to take a whole nother shot of this stuff.
Yeah, we did.
It's for Shad, man.
It's for Shad.
Hold on. Money. Yeah.
You could have waited till I finished pouring the shot, but I was not prepared for. I'm just saying.
I'm looking at the comments, and Chuck Clark said that we lost 2 wrestlers this week.
Yeah,
we are aware.
Yeah,
we got it.
Hey,
we got a whole hour to go.
We plan this out week to week. We know.
We appreciate that, though.
We're getting there. We appreciate you, but we're getting there.
but it's actually one thing that goes like unnoticed for me, and it took me a while to not in a while, but like when you look back at his WWE career, they weren't tag team champions, but they were probably one of the most over tag team at that time. Like literally, like no other tag team at that time. Yeah, literally. Yeah, only said it twice though. They were the actual. Their tag team was like so over, and like the catchphrase was popping. Like they had like 3 or 4 different.
Yeah.
Then they were the only ones that can get away with it too and get cheered for it. The whole like even one of the most darker segments, like when they had like Lita's going away, what they call it, a wholesale party, and they were selling her underwear.
Bruh.
Oh God.
I mean, she brought that on herself though. Like you were.
It was a lot going on back then. It was a whole lot.
Oh, Vince.
But yeah, we definitely enjoyed their performances. We enjoyed his performances in WWE. You know, it's unfortunate, but he passed away.
He also did have like a good indie career and a kind of like a budding film career too. He was an extra and a stunt double and I think a body double for I want to say Kratos.
God of War 3.
God of War 3.
Not
motion capture.
Yeah.
Not God of War 3. You got it. It's God of War 2018, but he was the motion capture and body double for God of War, whereas Michael Dorn was the voice. But Shad went out being a superhero for real, man. Like that's big props out to him.
Yeah, he died saving his son. Like heard the lifeguards got to him first, and he was like, "No,
take my son first."
Yeah. So I mean, if as a parent, if I gotta go, in regards to saving my child, that's an easy decision. So big props to him. He died a hero. He was a hero. He'll continue to be a hero. He'll be remembered as a hero. So shout out to Shad.
Okay, so we're gonna try to pick things up, but because Chuck basically called it up, I think we should just go ahead and talk about it now. Because we're gonna go into it, but there was a second wrestler that passed away this week.
Shad Kimura. She died. She was a professional wrestler for the
Stardom.
Japanese professional organization Stardom. And she was most recently also a contestant on the reality show based on a Netflix Japan version called Terrace House. And her death has not been made like public knowledge, but it's alleged at this point in time that it was a suicide due to cyberbullying. And so she was 22 years old. She was on a reality show, and I guess the comments got to her, and she had posted a couple of things that were a little telling to basically how she passed away. Also, one of the good things, I hate to say good things, that came out of this because nothing is good about taking your own life, but her best friend, Hikaru Shida, I believe that's how you pronounce her name, won the women's title last night. So, in honor of her best friend, her legacy gets to live on through her. So.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's very unfortunate. It's crazy. She was only 22 years old. It's like,
She was a baby, man. She was literally a baby.
Everybody's going through something.
Yeah.
So I remember this thing about it is like people often like put celebrities in like this higher status of like untouchability, and people don't realize that they're all human too. Like we're all human, and it's like just because they're a celebrity and they're more popular or more known than you are doesn't make them any less of a human than you are. Just like if people like were told to their face the things that they read online on comments, it'd be a totally different thing. So it's like I feel like the keyboard makes people feel like they're invincible, and therefore there's no repercussion to what they say. And when it comes to like celebrities, they feel like they can almost say anything. Like Twitter is both good and bad at the same time. Like, oh, we're so close to celebrities at the same time. You're like, oh, now I can tell a celebrity that she smells like shoes. I'm like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Well, you see, this is the thing. People
that's a little specific.
Reality TV as if it's not real. Like at this point, everybody's so ingrained into social media and things like that it literally is a part. Like that stuff really can mess with your psyche. And so I think that people really probably need to be more cognizant. And so I'm going to ask you, Richard, to no longer refer to Brock Lesnar's daughter as a he, because like in real life, like that's a form of cyberbullying. So we can't like, I mean, you can talk, but I'm just saying.
No, I never referred to her as he. I just said she looks like a monster.
So we're going to go ahead and transition over to our next topic because we definitely want to have a cheerier mode. Let's go ahead and get into our.
We don't want to work a 9 to 5 no more.
Oh, man.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we tried.
Man.
I agree. Let's go to a throwback show of the week.
Okay, so we're gonna go right back into the WB vault. And Trey, I gotta ask you, are you pondering what I'm pondering?
Oh, I don't know, Brian. Are you pondering what I'm pondering? Like,
So yes,
I want to throw my phone away.
Right.
We're going to talk about one of the greatest cartoons of our era, Pinky and the Brain. And this show, just in case for those young folks who don't know who it is, and I mean you should, it's basically two lab rats. The short one, which is the brain, is supposed to be the intelligent one, and Pinky's the dumb one, and they're trying to take over the world. Only thing is that Pinky finds a way to tell Brain, like, hey, this isn't gonna work, and he ends up being right at the end, and Pinky and the Brain pretty much just gets everything foiled because he doesn't even realize that Pinky is the actual smart one in this whole entire thing, which is one of the theories, because a lot of people. And here's the thing: I even looked this up. When we say the song "Pinky and the Brain," yes, Pinky and the Brain, one is a genius,
and the other is insane.
So a lot of us as kids was thinking like, oh, the genius is the brain. No, they're saying Pinky and the Brain. One's a genius, the other's insane. I mean, what's the definition of insanity?
Doing the same thing over and over again and accepting a different result.
And what does the brain do? The same
Holy
thing
shit!
Over and over.
Hold up. It was a variation of the same plan, but their plan still never worked the fuck out. So yeah, Pinky was really the smart one.
Cam, I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you, Cam.
Did Herb just blow my mind?
Exactly.
And I mean, it's because I was sitting there looking at it. I was like, go ahead, read it.
I said my cousin has moments. Leave him alone. Go ahead.
But no, I mean, like, it's like, damn, this guy is really doing the same shit over and over. And it's just like, Pinky tells him, like, yo, this isn't going to work. And then he just says, like, no, it's going to work because I'm a genius. And I mean, even on the second episode, if you guys remember, when the Brain made his own, now both of them are smart, but he made his own little person. And then he goes on like Jeopardy. And then Pinky says like, oh yeah, that's the answer to that question right there. I'm not even worried about this answer. And then it comes out to be the one thing that's going to win him the damn game is the question that Pinky knows the answer to. And he's like, oh my God, what the hell just happened?
So I was today years old when I realized that I don't know shit and Herb knows everything.
You got Cam. You got Cam. It wasn't me this time. I didn't take that drink.
It's talk about my cousin Herb. Only I get to talk about him like that. Me.
Yes, we all get to talk about him like that.
I mean, you're right that I'm letting y'all live, but it sounded right in me defending him.
Yeah,
So,
but as I said last week, as far as with Freakazoid, this is one of the 3 shows that Steven Spielberg was the executive producer for. The show went on for 4 seasons, 66 episodes, and it's actually would have been more episodes because this is a spinoff to the Animaniacs, which, in my opinion, I thought was the best out of the 3. Because, I mean, it's just like, shit, this is a lot of thought-provoking shit when you look at it. And it's just like, damn. So,
yeah, so you know one of my favorite Pinky the Brain schemes was when Brain decided to become a country music singer.
I remember that.
And his goal was to make country music that was popular but makes everyone fall asleep.
Oh my God.
I think and the thing is that I'm sorry, I mixed the two. But no, he wanted to do a popular singer, and his music was hypnotizing people. And then when he had like the whole world like in the palm of his hand, but the whole time was that Pinky kept messing up his name. His name was Billy Joe Bob Brain, but Pinky kept messing it up. So when he had like the world in the palm of his hands, and the hypnotism was like almost like worldwide signal reaching everybody, and he's all like for the last time, it's Billy Joe Bob. You know what? Fine, forget it. Forget my name. Forget I even existed. Don't even worry about me no more. Just drop it. And he's yelling at the Pinky. And then the whole world was like, forgets who he is. And now they wake up and they're like, who is this guy on stage with the giant legs?
Yeah.
Like he was a mouse. He was still a mouse, but he had like giant stilt legs to be like 6 feet.
Oh Jesus! It was definitely a classic. So I think
the real question here is shout out, and if you're about that life, at the smart dumb people that you know in the comments below, so that we can just give them the smart dumb praise that they do.
All right, Herb, you get your one.
A broken clock is right twice a day.
Hey,
okay.
What did the Little Giant say? Just need one time.
I can't with y'all. I can't
even
with y'all.
ruined it. All right, go ahead, man.
All right, let's go ahead and get into our character.
And there's that comedic timing again.
Oh, we didn't say it, but Shad was our wrestler of the week. But let's get into our character.
Yeah. Oh man.
Speaking of sinister things.
So
So, today's character week is Nathaniel Essex, also known as Mr. Sinister. Nathaniel Essex was born in the Victorian era. He was basically a human who was a scientist who got obsessed with evolution. So he naturally predicted the state of what was known as Homo superior, which are known as mutants in Marvel Day. He was called a madman. Eventually, he caught the eye of a group called the Marauders, who he eventually convinced to work for him. And then that caught the eye of a mutant known as Unsaba Noor, who also later became Apocalypse. Now, he and Apocalypse, they teamed up. Well, he worked for him, whatever. Because Apocalypse's motto is survival of the fittest, matched up with Nathaniel Essex, or Mr. Sinister's idea of evolution. He's also obsessed with Cyclops and Jean Grey. He believed that they were the perfect combination of mutants to give birth to the super mutant. So when Jean Grey died, he made a clone of Jean Grey named Madeline Pryor, who infused with like memories and stuff like that. So basically, he set up Cyclops to fall in love with a clone of Jean Grey to then give birth to the super mutant, which
which was now known as Cable. Now, his mutant abilities or powers aren't really like born with them. He actually experimented on himself and augmented himself. So like they vary between like shape-shifting, molecular reconstruction, immortality, energy blast, telekinetics, telepathy, teleportation. It's just whatever he wants because he can pretty much do whatever he wants to himself. He got really popular in the 90s cartoon, the second season of the X-Men animated series in the 90s. I think that the cartoon did him justice. There's talks of him being in a new movie under Marvel for the newer X-Men releases, so there's looking for that. The various alternate realities and various incarnations of Sinister, he's always been pretty much a villain. He's always depicted as the same motif as far as he believes in evolution or evolving or constantly experimenting to see what the next level of humanity is, hence his obsession with mutants, and to the point where he became one. Side note, he got his name Sinister because at the time his wife was dying and her last words for him were, "I can never forgive you, for you are sinister." All right, back to you guys.
So I says to Mabel, I says,
Speaking of Sinister people.
Yeah, that was definitely. I mean, Sinister, in my opinion, he's one of the best Marvel. I mean, best DC. Wait, no, okay.
No, he's Marvel.
Right.
He's Marvel. Sorry,
Marvel.
my bad. I'm reading things. I'm doing anyway. I'm distracted.
See what happens when you mix apple juice and lemon juice and Hennessy?
Yeah. It's a bad drink.
Everybody look. Everybody want to talk shit about my Everclear food, but I'm cool. Meanwhile, Trey over here dying.
It's like
he's dying with the master.
It really is. So yeah,
singing Negro spirituals.
Maybe lose my train of thought. I was saying that Sinister is one of the best X-Men villains, is what I meant to say. He's involved in everything. He's got his hands in everything. And now with the new run, the Dawn of X and Powers of 10, everything that's going on now, he's sitting on the Quiet Council and he's got an X gene. So I can't wait. Miss Sinister. Oh, Chuck said no, Mrs. Sinister. Like, because he gender swapped at one point in the comics. So
look,
I'm looking forward to it.
I only got but so long to talk about every character.
Yes. Can't go into too much detail.
We put you on a timer.
Yeah. I got you.
Oh, Mike said Hemister.
Hemister. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, I'm drinking a Hemister. Yes.
Yeah. No. But in a theme of Vince's evil, so I chose Mr. Sinister as our character.
Okay.
At this point, they're the same. At this point, they're the same thing. The only thing Vince is missing is that tattered cape.
Yeah.
You gotta admit, Mr. Sinister looks boss. I can't wait till they depict him in the movie. I can't wait to see how he looks.
Do you really think they're gonna do him well though? Like I don't know.
Yes,
man.
I think he's gonna do well. I trust that Marvel Studios will do him justice.
Proper poll. Because
let's do a proper poll. Do you think that Marvel Studios will do Mr. Sinister justice? I think that they're going to get him perfectly depicted.
On paper, in script, and even by actors, I think they can do Sinister.
Margin for error, you know what I mean?
So here's my thing. I think on paper, like a good script written for him, good storyline, good movie, I feel like Sinister can translate well from comic book to movie. What I'm definitely afraid of is how he's going to look. Mr. Sinister's costume is a very unique style of costume. That doesn't translate well, and they always add some different thing to it. My theory is he's going to be more towards like the Ultimate version. He's going to be more human than he will look like that weird purple. They'll give him the diamonds. They'll give him the diamonds, but I don't think he's going to have that.
You think they're going to do the Ultimate version of Sinister?
An Ultimate version, not Ultimate, but like a more realistic base version.
So here's the thing. In a lot of Marvel movies, to address what Cam is saying and the people in the comments that are saying no, you got to pay attention. Like, Marvel stuff is usually about the long run, and most villains that don't start out looking like themselves from the comic, they end up transitioning into that. Like, everybody was pissed off in Civil War about Baron Zemo because, he doesn't have the mask and And it's just like, well, that's his beginning. He's transitioning, and when he comes back and Falcon the Winter Soldier, he will have the full-on look. Like, I think what you might get is they might start with the Ultimate Mr. Sinister, but then by the end of the movie, he might not have the cape, but I think he will end up looking like his full-on self. I think
that's why I think the same thing too.
As long as they don't give him the bloodshot treatment where he's only Sinister for 5 seconds out of the effing movie, I'll be okay.
Listen,
now I'm not saying I don't think they're going to give them the tendrils coming out of the tether cape. I think that he's going to. I'll take it. I changed what I said. I think that I will be accepting of the way he looks in the movie.
All right,
I'll say that.
Okay,
but I don't think if they do the Sinister thing, where he has a Sinister tattoo on his forearm, I'm rioting. I'm going off. I'm full on nerd rage.
So right now it's all pre-production, so they don't even have a cast yet. So who do you think could play good Sinister?
Okay, but wait, real quick. I know you were saying like full on nerd rage, but Trey, like that's to be expected at this point for you to like full on nerd rage. Like, that's what you do.
So who do I think will play a good Mr. Sinister?
By the way, I forgot to mention this. Jamaica said Master Blend is whooping Trey. So.
Damn it.
Yes, it is. Damn it.
Oh,
Trey over there singing Negro spirituals.
No, sweet chariot. Anyway, what's the guy's name from Django? The German guy.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Christoph Waltz.
Yes,
Waltz.
I think he would make an ideal Sinister.
Yes,
he's eccentric. He can act. I think he's going to bring everything that we need to be.
But
to
isn't
be
he like
Sinister.
5'8" though? He's like 5'8". Sinister's an imposing dude.
Yeah,
Sinister is.
So,
Dolph
Lundgren? No.
Off camera guy, can they hear you right now?
No, so off camera guy just said Dolph Lundgren, and
Stay
yes,
off camera.
He is a real life rocket scientist. But I'm gonna treat that the same way they treated him in the Expendables 2 when they were saying the same thing that he's really smart and he has 3 degrees and shit. Stop it. Stay in the corner.
Okay, so to go back to my nerd fandom of choice, in the event that this gentleman is only 5'8", to all my Potterheads right there. Hagrid, who plays like a semi-giant basically or half-giant in Harry Potter, in real life that nigga was probably 5'8", and that made him look huge. So his size doesn't necessarily mean that he can't play the role, which is why I said all of that to say that.
You're right. Yeah. You're right.
I thought you were about to suggest Hagrid for Mr. Sinister.
I was about to say.
Boo this woman.
I waited.
Only referring to the fact that they could make that nigga look like he was at least 8 to 9 foot tall.
Chuck Clark has made a good point in the comments that of course he's already Doctor Strange, but Benedict Cumberbatch, he would have been a good Sinister.
So get that. So how about they try and get their second pick for Doctor Strange? Go find Joaquin.
Well, I mean, how about this though? Since
nerves rate.
since his contract is over with being Iron Man, they can get Robert Downey Jr. to play.
Are you trying to make?
All right.
Trying to make me crack off.
And that is the end of the show, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us this week.
We still got to talk about some other stuff. So switching up gears, we're going to transition over to the DC side of things. Recently.
Hey, Rick, you ready?
Yep.
Oh, yes, I am. Everybody's going to go in on this. Recently, we all had the new release of the Justice League Apocalypse. No. Justice League, is it Apocalypse? Justice League Dark Apocalypse. Yes.
Yeah.
And let's go around the horn and see what you guys' opinions about it. Let's start off with my big homie Herb. What'd you think of the movie, homie?
Fucking awesome. It's exactly what you want a DC animated movie to be. It's the action's there, the storyline's great. It's typical. It's what we wish the live action one would do. It's just be epic. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a great hour and a half for me. I could go and watch this movie over and over.
Okay. Rita is our least comic nerdy person here. But
and even least DC comic book fan.
Yes, but we actually convinced her to sit down and watch the movie. So Rita, tell us what you thought about it.
Okay, so real quick. Secondly,
I'm already loving it.
I actually really enjoyed the movie. Like, I felt like I forgot that I was watching like an animated movie. Like, that's how good it was.
Mhm.
And so the storyline was great. I felt like the pace of the movie was great. I felt like they didn't rush it. I felt like I got the whole story. And just to speak on how I feel about DC as a whole, I've never been a huge DC fan unless we're talking about, my lust for
Oh,
Jason
God.
Momoa, but that's
My
neither here nor
God.
there. But I honestly felt like
We just gonna, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna wrap
animated
you up and
was
drop you off at Samoa. That's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna leave you there.
I'm cool with that. Just make sure the Rock is there.
He ain't even
Just
there.
make sure Roman Reigns is there. Just make
Them
sure,
They both married.
Jason is there. I don't need no plan Bs. I don't need no condoms.
Oh my God.
nothing.
All right. Okay. All right. Back to the cartoons. Back to the cartoons.
Wow.
Ew. Both,
Yeah.
neither
So-
one
so
of the Bama's can point out Samoa on the map, by the way.
So I'm gonna go ahead and go next. I did like the movie as the movie itself. It was pretty cool. I've always grown up with anime that was always violent and bloody, so it was a good throwback to that. I just felt like the ending of it was very oh man, how are we gonna end this now? Hey Flash, let's do a do-over. All right, cool. I'll be right back. And that's how sorry, spoiler, but whatever. Like it's like that's how they ended it. Like, all right, hey, run. All right, cool. Like that's it.
So
That's it. Like,
So one of the overwhelming themes of DC animated movies is when they do these stories and stuff, it pretty much you figure out that it's either going to be Barry's fault or Barry's going to try and be the one that fixes it. And most times they do both of them. At the beginning, it's just like, oh, Barry, you fucked us. Barry, you're the only one that can save us. So I mean, I end up feeling pretty bad for Barry. I will say this, one of my favorite parts of Justice League Dark Apocalypse was we actually learned that Lady Shiva does have a weakness. And it's a bullet to the brain.
She's a done deal.
So
you can't karate kick a bullet.
So listen. A black belt can't beat a belt fed. But no, I did enjoy the movie. It's pretty much what I expected for DC animated movies. You know, their animated movies are incredible. They're always on par. That is the one area that they beat Marvel in.
Hey,
So,
which one's some of your favorites though?
Well, so my favorite is actually the prelude to this movie. My favorite is actually Flashpoint because we get Zack Snyder's Batman in animated form, and it just so happens to be Bruce Wayne's father, and it's Thomas, and he is out there just murking people like
every left and right.
Just a quick spoiler: when you first come into contact with his Batman, he is shooting at Harley Quinn. And I'm not talking about like shooting batarangs. He has 2 9mm and he is chasing her ass, firing both of them like he's Laura Croft or some shit.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Herb, what you got as your favorite?
Oh man, my favorite was Batman Hush. I'm not gonna spoil it since I'm always known for spoiling shit, but just go ahead and watch it. It's amazing. It's a great twist at the very end of it. You'll thoroughly enjoy it.
I mean, did you ever read the comic though, Hush? Or are you still working your way to that one?
I haven't got there yet. So,
Bro, you need to.
I would say make that your second to the next one because I know you already got one already playing in your head.
Because my favorite, which ties into that, is Under the Red Hood.
Does it hurt? Does it hurt, Puddin'? Does it hurt? Listen,
or hand,
quick,
or backhand.
Real quick, just to give people a little bit of background or whatever. If you ever see me walking towards your child with a crowbar, get him out of there.
So for those who don't understand Under the Red Hood, the very first character of the week that I did was about Jason Todd. So Jason Todd is pretty much one of the focal points of Under the Red Hood for Trace, which is also one of my favorites too. And Trace stole that one from me. So that's cool. That's cool. I got another one.
My bad.
It's cool. Because the thing about the DC animated universe is that they love Batman so much that they just keep doing nothing but stories and stories for Batman. So if I had to say one of my favorite DC animated films, I would probably say one of the original ones, which is Mask of the Phantasm, which went into a backstory of Batman. Like, it's kind of like Batman Year One mixed with like a traditional, like everything we knew from like the first season of the Batman, and it kind of explained why Batman is the way he is.
Yeah,
and it was also like, I think it was actually completely made up, because as far as my call, I don't think there was an actual Phantasm, a comic book character yet. So I think that was completely, I want to say, and if I'm wrong, put in the comments or, let me know. But if I'm wrong, let me know. But I do believe that was one of the WB or, one of their original characters, Harley, and a couple others like that. I think, the fact that they just threw that in there gave Batman a more like, okay, I understand him now. I still don't agree, but I understand him now.
So what'd you have, Rita?
Catwoman.
Catwoman, because you suggested it to me, and it was a short film, but my reason for it being my favorite is not what any of you guys are thinking. My whole thing is that I'm about to buy a whole latex suit, a pole, so I could just be acrobatic and live my best life. So that's why it's my favorite. So you're welcome.
So Rita's OnlyFans account will be starting up soon.
Subscribe to my OnlyFans. Subscribe to my OnlyFans. It's under Rita Meow Meow.
Oh my God.
So in this episode of Blurs and Frisky.
Oh man. So are we gonna get paid to do promos for you?
So actually, it's funny that Maestro mentioned the Zack Snyder comment, because if y'all haven't heard, HBO Go has decided that their big
HBO Max.
I'm sorry, HBO Max, whatever. Their big pitch for their new streaming service or whatever is to have as their forefront the Snyder cut of the Justice League movie. I'll let you go first, because I'm a drink.
It looks like you're about to go off over there. So
really?
So what I need for you, release the Snyder Cut fanboys to understand.
Thank you.
Oh, he's about to ruin it. Pepper. Get down. Hide your ears.
There is not gonna be anything different. It's going to be the same movie. The only thing you're going to see is Henry Cavill in a black suit. Do you understand that Warner Brothers just gave Zack Snyder $20 million to finish the movie because it wasn't finished?
It was $30 million, and it's the black suit and a mustache.
It's stupid. It is stupid. The movie sucked. It sucked when it opened up. It sucked with Superman's stupid fake face. I hate this movie. It's stupid.
Keep going.
It's stupid.
Y'all how you would feel.
No. Seriously, y'all sitting there acting like the Snyder Cut is going to be like the holy grail. It was better off as a myth and just something y'all could talk about in Reddit. Now it's actually going to happen, and now y'all going to see the bullshit for what it is. 3 hours of Ben Affleck just dialing in, acting like he don't give a shit. The plot's still going to be the same. The cut's still going to be the same. The acting's still the same. The graphics are still the same. What's the difference? It's Snyder's vision. Who cares?
Hey, guess what? Ezra Miller's still going to be running like this.
Where's the nerd rage gif? Like,
where's the
No, seriously though. Like y'all over here in the subreddit talking about like, I wish they released a Snyder cut, it's just like so we can get the true vision of what he wanted. It's supposed to be darker than this. No, it ain't. It's the type.
This
is this the joy you guys?
It doesn't make a difference.
This makes me angry on so many different levels.
And I'm loving it.
I'm still gonna watch it.
I've been telling everybody they've been positioning this for almost a year now. Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot. They had no business saying anything about it. I hate it so much. I hate it so much.
It's so stupid. I have a question. Is this the same joy you guys get out of me raging out? Because I am loving this. I'm every bit of this. Get going.
That's why I said
Shut up.
OCG, I need some memes.
Nerd rage.
No, because it doesn't make any sense. And you know what the worst part is? Everybody's gonna do the same thing. We're all gonna subscribe to it, get a little free 30-day trial, just so we can watch it, and then it's gonna cancel it. Just so we can talk shit about it in the following year. I will.
You know, the only thing that'll make this better is just telling Trey that Joaquin Phoenix movie was better.
No, Joaquin Phoenix is actually part of the Snyder cut.
Right. They're gonna drop his Joker in there and say it was him the whole time.
You're not gonna build me into this.
No. The end credit scene is literally going to him. It's Joaquin Phoenix talking to the fanboys. You get what you deserve.
And to this day, I still ain't seen that damn movie, and I'm not gonna watch that movie. I've got people. Hey, Herb, just so you know, I got over the Joker a long time ago. I'm okay.
No, you're not. I can still see a little bit in there.
It's just people
It's on
like
demand now, by the way. Did you know that? It's on demand. Like, you can watch it right now.
So you know what? You know what else? So while everybody's all clamoring about the whole Snyder cut, here's a cut that y'all should really watch though, because the original Batman vs Superman movie, when that bombed, the original cut for Suicide Squad was a lot darker, in the same vein as the Batman vs Superman, because that bomb, Warner Brothers freaked out, and one of the trailers, the people who edited that trailer added Bohemian Rhapsody to it, and it made it a little lighthearted and fun. So they decided to say, hey, can you all re-edit and reshoot the movie so that we can make it look like the trailer did, so it doesn't look like what we originally have? That's the original cut I want to see, because if you look at Suicide Squad, it's almost two separate movies in one film.
So the most of the parts that were cut out of Suicide Squad that most people don't know about is what I said they should have done with Suicide Squad in the beginning, is made Assault on Arkham a live action movie. And that's essentially what David Ayer did. But then the executives over at Warner Brothers and all of their vast knowledge and whatever the fuck it is, they're full of shit. they decided to cut the movie into that abysmal mess that it was. I hate, dude. Listen,
it has so much potential.
What was your least favorite part of Justice League?
My least favorite part of Justice League, God,
Flash.
It's so
everything that Flash is in.
I'm sorry. I'm just gonna say it. Flash is a pussy in this movie, and it really pisses me off.
No,
it really does.
No,
well, Flash is always kind of sensitive, though.
Hold on. My least favorite part of Justice League is Superman's stupid face that they had my 4-year-old cousin do the CGI on. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So speaking of Superman.
I'm just. So, do you think that Ezra Miller would have ran a little bit better if he had actually taken some pre-workout?
I'm glad you asked. If Ezra Miller would have dipped into his Phoenix Fit pre-workout, it would have made him run like a man and not some sort of weird stick figure. But getting into it, making that nice transition.
Oh man! So
Phoenix Fit.
Go right.
Recently, the majority of us have all of us have invested in our sponsor Phoenix Fit. We've been using their products. I know Herb has been using the pre-workout. Rita, Trey, Mr. Petty, have you been using it as well?
I'm going to start. So I didn't
your body fat percentage is like at least 20% lower than the rest of us. So,
yeah. I mean,
we have a promotion.
Yeah, but we've been using the Phoenix Search products. It's helping us on our own personal fitness journeys, and as far as like our energy and keeping up and throughout our busy days. Some of us have very busy days because most of us are still essential workers. The Phoenix Fit it is amazing. It helps you with everything. They also have a line of CBD products for people that use CBD products to help with anxiety, to also help with soreness and overall body pain. You can click on the link in the description, or you can use our promo code, which is FNX Blurds13, FNX Blurds13, to get 15% off your purchases at PhoenixFit.com. Go ahead, get you some, get yourself right, get you some muscles.
So to go ahead and
Cash Money Records taking over for the 99 and the fucking 2000 kneecaps. Like what I'm trying to do right now, if you can stop
No more sleep
twerking.
But I said
Yeah.
she needs to help like reduce the stress on her knees so she can get down for the 99-2000. That's right.
And my fupa.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow. Okay.
It's 2000. It's 2020.
I don't think y'all
so-
understand how much this woman wants to get back to twerking.
Yes.
Like twerking is really that important to you? Like you okay.
Hey, y'all don't understand.
He is planning to go to Samoa one day, and she got to be able to twerk. That's all she said.
Hey, man,
y'all
my kneecaps
don't-
need to be on 100, man. I mean, like kneecaps play a large part of your life. And
You
my
must say, but
ladies know, like, you know, when you're trying to, like I said, you're trying to do something strange for a piece of change, you're trying to holler for $1, your kneecaps need to be on point. That's all I'm going to say.
Hey, real quick.
when her OnlyFans start.
Oh no, we're stop because people are actually going to start looking for OnlyFans. Stop.
Yeah,
Okay.
please.
But checking the comments out real quick. Chuck said if you're having trouble deciding on whether or not to watch the Snyder Cut, you ain't black.
Joe Biden sucks.
Just one thing I have to plug in before we go on to the rest of the show. Phoenix Fit. These guys are phenomenal because just a weekly recap on my weight loss. My very first goal was to go ahead and get to 415. I started out, today marks a month since I started. I was at 430. I got on the scale this morning. I'm down to 414.6 pounds. So that's
Good job.
16 pounds down, and I'm still going. So, guys, this stuff is official. It's not we ain't just saying it just because we're trying to get some bread. We saying it's like this shit actually works. I mean, just look at how everybody's feeling. I mean, positive mindset. I mean, Rita's gonna get her kneecaps together. Rick's gonna go ahead and fight Brock Lesnar one day. I'm actually gonna be able to fit in the 2X. I mean, come on, at some point, we're showing you guys that this is working.
Why is she doing the Tina twerk? Why is she doing it? Just all shoulders.
I say she's twerking like Brock Lesnar when it comes to pain.
Oh my God.
Hey, Rick. She's twerking like Brock Lesnar. Here comes the pain. Just that's all show.
No, but dude, go ahead, Kenny.
But all about the shoulder.
But the funniest thing about the best thing I heard about Phoenix Fit though so far is what I'm hearing from you all is like I remember Rita was in the group chat where she was discussing how much energy she's having and how her metabolism has now started kickstarting now after like 2 or 3 workouts now, like within a week. Like she's like, I'm always hungry now. Like I'm working out and I'm always hungry. My metabolism has kicked up. And I'm like, wow, maybe I should open up the box that I ordered a week ago. So
so you can get skinnier.
My collarbone out here popping. Like I ain't had no collarbone 3 weeks ago.
Y'all better look at that sexy collarbone. Look at that. Look at it.
And y'all getting that for free. Just wait till you get to the OnlyFans to see.
Right.
Stop it.
Hashtag Rita Meow Meow. Rita Meow Meow.
Okay.
All right.
This has been an amazing show, and we are going to wrap things up because this is the last time we're going to mention our damn OnlyFans. So check out Phoenix Fit. Also, if you want to get your beard game right, you got to make sure you hit up the guys at Beard Struggle. I don't know if it's going to come up. Yeah, Beard Struggle.
Yeah, boy.
Don't be a cam. That's all I got to say.
We got the stress bombs for the cams out there too.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
Get that stuff.
Okay, so you're gonna go on me now. All right, we got like 2 minutes, 1 more minute. I can still go. I can still fire back because I remember Trey said he wanted to smoke. That's okay. No, I'm gonna. No, I had enough nerve rage for 1 moment.
Listen, use our promo code BLURS1 to get 15% off your purchases at Beard Struggle.
Yeah.
And what's the Phoenix Fit one again?
It is FNX Blurred 13.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay, cool. It's a good thing that Phoenix Fist doesn't interfere with certain blue pills. Ain't that right, Trey? All right.
Oh,
Go
no!
ahead.
Hey,
Go ahead and wrap up, Herb.
Bang! Oh man!
I told you, Mr. Petty ain't just a cute nickname. Let's go.
yes,
All
he
right.
is. Yes, he is. You can actually check out Mr. Petty on certain OnlyFans out there if you know what I mean.
Man. He went all the way Matrix on that ass with that blue pill. God
wait.
damn.
Wait, we gotta go because
hey, y'all can joke all you want, but if we get a sponsorship from Blue Chew, I bet your ass ain't gonna be claiming that issue. All right, then.
what you talking about?
Ladies will definitely come in handy.
Listen, we get a
sponsor from Blue Chew. It's on and popping.
We get a sponsorship from Bluetooth. I'm gonna do the whole show standing up with the camera on my crotch.
No, you're not.
Oh my God.
And that just killed it. All right, Herb, close us out, man. Close us out.
Okay, wow. So, like we always say, check out our past. God damn, you messed me up. Go ahead, check out past episodes of Blurs and Whiskey on Blurs and Whiskey.
You gotta look at it. Look at it.
God, I got that.
Side to side.
Oh my God. Let's end this now, please.
Okay.
Helicopter.
What's his name? Check us out on all streaming services. Go ahead. What's his name? IG, Twitter, YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe to us.
Oh, he froze. BlursandWhiskey.com. You froze, Herb. BlursandWhiskey.com. Hey, everybody out there, thank you for tuning in. Also, make sure that you go to our actual podcast page on Facebook. Share, subscribe. Check us out there. Share us. Help us grow so we can do more. We're doing big things. We got big things coming. Check us out. All right, boy, close
big
out.
things coming.
Please, stop. See, now we, all right. Okay, yeah, all right.
Down to it. Fuck those who don't do it. We do it because we used to it. Drink motherfucking drink.
And we out this bitch.
Oh, God.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and that technicolor rainbow in between, it's your boy Trey Proper.
It's your boy Big Herb.
And thank you for watching Blurs and Whiskey.
Be sure to like, share, subscribe on all social media platforms.
And check us out on blursandwhiskey.com.
Be sure to get that merch.
And come take this shot.